like I said, if you're just tuning in, we're going to talk about pizza. Not the first thing you want to see on a Monday morning, but some of you might have had this over the weekend. Now, this video isn't about what you should and shouldn't be eating. What I'm going to talk about is we picked this up over the weekend, and I just want to talk to you through. It could have been anything, but this is something people might commonly go for the weekend when you're thinking about food ideas. So what I want to talk about is quickly the food labels, looking at the back of it and looking at that's the front, looking at the back of it then as well, and just kind of understanding it a bit better so you can make smarter choices for yourself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you around here with me, and we're going to quickly talk through it. So this is a vegan, vegetarian pizza, right? It's spinach and ricotta pizza. So we're going to quickly run through. So by law, every kind of product has this thing in the front of it now, which is like your traffic light system for your food label and your nutritional ingredients and things, right? So as we look at this now, what this is meant to do is show people that at a glance they can see if something's in red, it's a high content of that thing, right? So what we're really looking at here is the fat, the saturated fat, the sugar, these kind of things. So if something's in red, it's saying warning that this is a high intake of this for your day. If something's in green, it's saying it's okay, and if something is in orange, it's in the middle. It's getting high, but it's not too high yet. So looking at this pizza, right, if we look down at this label again, you can see 2 orange, red and a green. Now, if you look at this at a glance, you can, okay, the red stands out, which it's meant to, and it's asking what's red. So it says fat, which is 14 grams, and then it says the red bit is what's the saturated fat, which is 8.1 grams. So, excuse me. Now, if you look closer, I don't know if you can see that here. See at the top of that? Now, I can barely read this by the naked eye. We're zooming in here. So this says amount per half pizza, which is their serving, right? So these amounts here, so let's just look at the calories for a second. It says 346 calories. So your 346 calories is per half a pizza. Now when someone looks at this and goes, okay, it's red, 8.1 grams of saturated fat, that's for half of this pizza. Now, look, most people, if we were to take a look at this, I'm not going to eat this now, it's too early. Most people would eat that. I know I'd eat that straight off the bat, and I wouldn't share it with anybody either, because Joey doesn't like to share food. So, but what I'm getting at is, it says a portion's half pizza, but realistically, most people eat that on their own, or else they might half that with, you know, they could have chips or garlic bread or whatever you picked up to go with it. So, what I'm getting at is, this is just half a portion. Bear with me. We have a dog, and she needs to go outside. This is the joys of isolation. No. So what I'm getting at, right, is if you eat this whole thing, now all of a sudden these figures become a lot higher, and that's what people want to look at, rather than just looking at, okay, the saturated fat content was 8.1 grams. Really, if you eat all of this, is 16 grams, and the reason they're highlighting this in red to kind of help you understand where these numbers are coming from. So it says 8.1 grams is 40% of your recommended daily intake of saturated fat. So your recommended daily intake of saturated fat is 20 grams. That's really all you're supposed to be taking in. Now this is based on a 2,000 calorie plan. If you're a bigger person, you know, you're stronger, you're fitter, you do more, you could probably take in more. But really you shouldn't be going over 20 grams of saturated fat anyway, it's not good for the body. So if you take in this whole pizza, now you're looking at 16 grams of saturated fat, and that's why it's in red, because you're so close to your 20 grams of intake, okay? Your fat in 14 grams, so again, that's 20% of your day on half. So really you're taking in 28 grams. This is what I want you to start thinking about. It's not just the obvious numbers that are popping off the front of the packaging. Look at the serving size. Like some pizzas you'll pick up, in total, right, it isn't bad in terms of calories. So like 346 calories in this half pizza. So you're talking about 692 for the whole pizza. So under 700 calories for a pizza is actually pretty good. A lot of pizzas, frozen pizzas you can pick up inside in the shops, can be 1,000, 1,200. Like this is all like spinach. The reason the saturated fat is so high in this is because it's cheese. You've ricotta, you've mascarpone, you've mozzarella cheese. So it's all a lot of cheese in it. But you start picking up a meat pizza, that's going to tip the whole pizza over 1,000 calories. So the calories in pizzas can be super high. Like at 692, it's not bad. It's not the worst for pizza, but you have to just watch out for the saturated fat. Again, as I said, probably what I'm trying to get you to understand is what these food labels mean, okay? So this one here, right, in green, I'm just going to zoom in quickly again. So this one here in green is your sugar intake, right? Now what I want you to understand from how to describe the sugar percentages here. So it's 7.3 grams of sugar per half pizza. So there's 14 grams of sugar in the pizza, right? Which again isn't too high. But the reason it's green, right, and this is where the confusion can be. They measure your grams of sugar out of your total sugar intake, right? So what I mean by that is you're allowed about 90 grams of sugar in a day of intake. So what this is saying is that 7.3 grams of sugar is only 8% of your 90 grams, if that makes sense. So 10% is obviously 9 grams. But what we need to be conscious of, and this is kind of the false positive in terms of the sugar in our foods, what we want to be conscious of is our added sugar intake is only 20 grams is what we should be taking in. Now, that's not to say that all this, and this is why they can't set your 7 grams of sugar as a percentage of the 20, because not every, like there's tomato in this, there's naturally occurring sugars in tomatoes. So they can't give it as a percentage out of 20 grams. So we have to be a bit more conscious about that and educate ourselves. So they say it's 8% and 90, but then you need to have a quick flick at the ingredients and just see where does the sugar sit. If the sugar sits very high, then there's a lot of added sugar and you'll be better off taking that 7.3 grams out of 20 grams, which is closer to 30%, which is very high, and that would be red at that point. But just to give you an idea of what I mean, right, so if we just have a quick look at the ingredients and we'll take a little skim down through if you can see this, alright. So we just like wheat flour, so all I'm looking for here is the word sugar, so the tomato sauce, so here is sugar, so it's kind of halfway, give or take, so there is obviously a bit of added sugar, but still it looks fairly low in comparison to what other products would be in terms of chocolate bars and stuff. The sugar would be very high. So all in all, the pizza isn't bad. This isn't a paid promotion. I can pay a friend, I'm not telling you where to get the pizza. So the sugars aren't bad, but what I want you to be conscious of is just because this is in green, it's green because it's 8% of 90 grams of your daily intake, because out of the other 70 grams, you take out your 20 added, that 70 can occur from fruit, from vegetables, all these different things. But we have to be conscious of where that sugar is sitting in, so we can make a conscious decision, okay, should that 7 grams of sugar be out of our 20, which is our added, or out of our 90? So generally, there is going to be some bit of added sugar, but by the looks of its positioning, it might only be 3 or 4 grams, which is still fairly low for a pizza, right? So, no, that's per half serving. So the last thing here, guys, just on the back of the box as well then here, right, so these are, you'll see 2 typical values. So just to understand, right, so here it tells you, just kind of summarize what's in the front. So per half pizza, there's your per calories as well, just zoom in there a little bit, your fat, your saturated. So these kind of key things are listed on the front as well. So protein, it's like protein super high for a half. There's 30 grams. Like they should advertise that on the front of this box. There's 30 grams of protein. Am I reading that right? Yeah, there's 15 grams of protein. Now, obviously, because there's a lot of cheese in there. But there's pizza. Don't go to town on eating pizzas, because Mike said there's 30 grams of pizza inside it. 30 grams of protein. It's Monday morning, give me a break. There's 30 grams of protein inside in this, which is super high. But again, obviously, the calories are massive, like to be taken in that. So I don't need to explain that to you. So, but the reason they list out here at the top, right, per 100 grams and then per half pizza, is because per 100 grams you can compare anything like for like. So if you're unsure of, if you pick up 2 things inside in the shop and you go, okay, per 100 grams this has 4.5 grams of sugar. You pick up something else and you're going, okay, well, this pizza is 340 grams, but that pizza is 500 grams. This says it has 6 grams of sugar. How do you tell how much grams of sugar is inside in this? You use the per 100 grams column. So per 100 grams, if this one says it's 4.5 grams of sugar and you pick up another pizza and says per 100 grams, this one has 10 grams of sugar, this one is obviously less sugar. It's that simple, right? So, and that's the way you compare them all. So it's not about calculating, there's 6 in this, there's 10 in that. Keep it simple, per 100 grams, there's obviously going to be less sugar in this, the more grams of pizza you take in, okay? So, look, I hope that, and these are very quick to read, but just be careful of that fine print. Like some of these will only say a quarter pizza, and the reason they do that is because if they said half, like there's pizzas out there, I know I see them passing when you go into the shop, that'll say what we've seen here, 346 calories will be per quarter pizza. The reason they don't say half, because if they told you that half a pizza is 750 calories, that means, okay, you start doing the math with 1,500 calories. They're not going to sell as much of it, so they're trying to give you the smallest amount of measurement on the front of these things, because anything higher, they probably wouldn't sell it as much. They're trying to bring their numbers down so they can sell it. So it's a small bit sneaky. So look, this is just about educating you. You don't have to stop eating pizza if you don't think it's for you, but I'm just giving you the information so you can make the best choices for you and the healthiest choices for you and your family, okay? So look, I hope that makes sense. I'm going to be chatting a bit more about kind of weekend takeaways and all that kind of stuff later in the week.